All right, welcome back to the MHSNews album review podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about Crash by Charli XCX, and I have a special guest with me today, so introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Evie Gallagher.
Are you excited for this?
I'm so excited.
I actually chose Evie for this because out of everyone that I know I could possibly talk about this album with, I think that she is the only person qualified enough to do this album justice.
Yep.
So we're just going to get into it.
Thank you.
The album was released about 2 weeks ago. It is Charli XCX's fifth album. It is the final one with her current record contract. The album is called Crash, like I said, and there's 12 songs. We're going to be going through them kind of track by track, talking about what we like, what we don't like, what she could improve upon, what we think is incredible. Charli XCX as an artist, I think, is a very interesting person.
Oh my god, so interesting.
She's spanned so many genres, and she's worked with so many people over the years, and I think that this album is just an insane kind of culmination of all of her interests and things over the past couple albums just kind of put together. It's a little bit less experimental than I'd say. It's not as risky as some of her last albums that have been more kind of hyper pop oriented, that aren't kind of traditional pop music. But I think that in itself is a risky move for someone that's kind of known for stepping out of the box.
For sure.
Just to kind of get back into a normal environment. This is a pop record through and through, 100%.
Right. And it is a risky thing. I remember she was talking about how there's sort of been this whole air about her for years now of her being 3 steps ahead of the music industry, and she feels like nowadays the music industry is maybe catching up to her. So it's nice for her to take a step back and do a more traditional pop album where she doesn't have to be 3 steps ahead of everybody.
And it's really weird because I think that there aren't many people in the music industry that could do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
The cast of collaborators she has on this thing is insane. We'll get through the different features and things like that. But I think we're just going to kind of dive in first. So track number 1, title track, Crash. I love that this song started the album.
It's fantastic. See, so I'm a recent Charli XCX fan, and what I found out about her personality, just what I've interpreted, I think she's a very destructive person.
100%.
Fantastically destructive. So Crash is just like a perfect title, first title track. I think it's so good because it's just about self-destruction. Yeah.
One of my favorite lyrics of the entire album is just at the end of it. It's right here where she's just saying, "I'm about to crash into the water, gonna take you with me." That's the kind of repetition that goes throughout this song. I think that is a perfect way to start this album. Closer to the end of it, she changes that to "I'm about to crash, come watch me," which I think is just a perfect way to kind of summarize the feelings that she's kind of talking about on this record, as in this is the last pop album with a major label. This is kind of her pulling out all the stops, using all of the resources she has. She's yeah, this is going to be an entire self-destructive moment. There's going to be a lot of emotions in this thing. You're the audience. You're here to watch. Let's see how this goes down.
Yeah.
Which I love how that starts the album.
It's so cool.
The second track is New Shapes, which is a
It's fantastic.
It's a good one.
Of the singles, it's one of my favorites, and I preferred it over some other ones, which surprised you.
New Shapes is a feature with Christine and the Queens and Caroline Polachek, which are both artists that Charli's worked with previously. Christine and the Queens on Gone off her self-titled album, Caroline Polachek on Tears from the Pop 2 mixtape, which are both 2 songs I think that are better stylistically than this one, but I think that this song achieves what it was set out to do. It's a fun pop song. I think that it's very commercial compared to a lot of the music that she's been putting out in recent years. And I think that it was a good teaser track because I think that it provides some of the substance that this album kind of goes through. For me personally, it's a little bit repetitive. And the instrumentals aren't the most interesting to me. But I see why it was here, and I'm not upset that it was included on the album.
I just love it. I just feel like I can whip my head to it. Just
Yeah.
What you want.
I
I love it.
I got it. I love it's very, very catchy. And the more I listened, it came out, I think it was in November. So since then, the track really has grown on me. But just compared to some of these other tracks on this album, I think that it kind of falls flat. Next track is called Good Ones. This is the lead single from the album, and I don't think I could ever say enough great things about this song.
Oh my god.
I've listened to it probably hundreds and hundreds of times since it was released last September. I can't get sick of it. It is a perfect song. I don't think it overstays its welcome. I think it's so fun to listen to. It is so danceable. I love the pre-chorus. I love the build. This song is perfect.
This was the first Charli XCX song you ever showed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I had no interest in her, and then you showed me this song, and I played it 5 times that day, in your car, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Constant repeat, track 4. Another highlight for me.
Oh, it's so good.
I agree.
I would say it's fantastic. There's only one thing I have with it. When I first listened to it, I was like, oh, is this... I feel like I'm in a circus. And then I wasn't in a circus, you know?
That's I've never heard you describe that song like that before, and I understand exactly what you're meaning.
No, it's fantastic. But when I first got into it, like that first little bit, I was like, I'm in a Jack in the Box or something, you know? Like, not the restaurant.
The toy. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. Still, it's fantastic.
Yes. This song, in an interview, Charli actually stated this is her favorite song from the record, and I see why. I think the synthesizers on this song, wonderful. The production on this is very 80s to me. But not in like a traditional.
Talked about that.
Yeah, no. This album is an 80s explosion.
Oh my god, it is. Which is. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But I have recently been in a very anti-80s phase of my life. But this has just like switched that around for me completely.
Yeah. I think that this song right here, we start kind of getting into the themes of the record. This album is about a whole bunch of different personal experiences for her. In the past few years, she has broken up with her long-term boyfriend that her last album was pretty much all about. And she has found a new partner. And that's what a lot of this song is about, or a lot of this album is about, is about losing someone so quickly and then moving on to something so fast and not really having time to catch up with your feelings.
Which we'll get onto that later.
Yeah, we will. But this song, I think it's an important one on the record, and it's definitely not one that I would recommend skipping going through this record. Next track is another pre-release single, Beg For You, featuring Rina Sawayama, who is one of my personal favorite artists in current music industry right now. I think that she's one of the most fascinating people out there right now. Yep. This song it's a sample. I think a lot of people were expecting more from Charli XCX and Rina Sawayama together because they are both such polarizing figures in pop music.
Agree with that completely.
And I know
that's
you
my
do.
biggest thing. But we haven't even talked about that, but I do.
Yeah. This song, for me, I love this song. I think
I love it. It's just...
And it is a highlight for me. I like it better than New Shapes. I think that their voices blend together really well. I think it's fun. Again, it's not too long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And I think that it accomplishes what it needed to be done for the album. We got to kind of get through these ones. But Move Me right here, incredible. Phenomenal song. So my favorite part on the whole album might be when the music cuts out during the chorus and she goes into Hold My Body Tight Even on My Lowest Nights. That whole change right there where the music fades out. Yeah. Wonderful. And then cannot say good enough things about it. I love this song.
This is high up on my list. I don't have an official list yet, but it's high up on there.
Yeah. The next track is the last pre-release single. It's called Baby. Again, really fun pop song. I think the dancing and the choreography in this music video is wonderful. Yeah, it's good.
I think I could dance to this forever. This could never get old for me.
You see, when I first heard this song, I was like, I really like this, but I feel like I'm going to get sick of it, and I haven't.
Yeah.
And I've listened to this album nonstop since it came out. I have not stopped listening to it.
It's so good.
The next song, okay, this one I think is one of the best Charli XCX songs ever created.
I'm not super into the Charli XCX fandom, but from what I can tell, the general consensus is that this is the best song.
Yes, this song is called Lightning. It is phenomenal.
I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I don't think it's the best one. Which
is fair. I love the build up to the chorus.
You didn't tell me it was fair the other day.
It is, yeah, I know. It has the most explosive chorus out of, I think, every single song on this record. It is so addictive. It's so catchy. I really, really love this song. There's not really much else I can say about it, or else I'll start tearing up and I'll just start talking about it for too long. This song is really good. It's definitely a highlight for me on the record.
I think it's fantastic. It's one of my favorites. It's not my favorite. It's not the best one.
Yeah. Next up, we have Every Rule. This is produced by A.G. Cook, who is one of Charli's longtime collaborators, and I think that they always work really well together. This is probably the slowest song. It's the closest thing to a ballad you're going to find on this record. And topically, this is where the album gets very interesting.
Yes, because, and you didn't realize it for way too long.
Yeah.
So as soon as I listened to this song, I was like, oh, okay, this is about her and someone else both cheating on two different people for each other.
Yes.
And they're sneaking out, and they're hiding everything from their friends and all that stuff, and it's a love song to each other that's like, oh, I feel guilty, but I don't care because I love you.
Yep.
And I was like,
which honestly is an interesting situation to be in.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. And it took Jack way too long to figure that out that that's what it's about. I think it fits really well with the theme of her being destructive.
Yes.
Self-destructive and destructive in general.
This is kind of where the album, you kind of start to see Charli in different layers. She's very multifaceted in the fact that she's not necessarily the hero on this album. Next up, we have Yuck. I love this song. It's so fun. This might be the most fun song on the record. It's this and Good Ones for me.
Why wasn't this a single?
I don't know. And
why wasn't it a single?
Luckily, it still has time to be a single. And I think that it should be.
Fantastic. We gotta move on. It's fantastic.
Yes, 100%. Agreed. Used to Know Me. This one actually is becoming a single. This one's fun. This is the only song I think that has, for me, gone down my list.
Really?
As far as since it came out. I think it's a good song. I think the chorus is really catchy. I like the lyrics on it. I really like the how the introduction. A lot of these songs kind of introduce with the chorus and then come back to it. I really like that use in this song. It used to be way higher on my list, but now I think I appreciate Move Me a lot more. I think Move Me and this one have switched in my original ranking as far as how high up they are.
I was comparing Move Me and Used to Know Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's still a great song.
I love it. It's fantastic.
Okay, final track, Twice. This one's a very interesting one for me.
I love it.
I love this one too. This is another one of those songs that has moved up on my list. This one and Move Me have moved up. Well, I think Used to Know Me moved down.
Interesting. See, okay, so do you want to run down what it's about?
Yeah, so this song is really about the end of the world. It's about everything crashing down.
She's killing herself at the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She says it. It says, when it's too much, there's a gun to my head. When it's too much, got me feeling so scared. Real talk with my demons lately. Real talk in the mirror saved me. When it's too much, you gotta live life good. Appreciate it.
I like when it's, here, scroll down there.
Yeah.
I like, oh yeah, up on the hill, we'll see it all end. Die happy thinking about my best friends. It's such a wonderful image.
And I love this word, but it's definitely a juxtaposition, this song, because the chorus and the kind of instrumentals behind it and the way that she's saying these words makes it sound like a happy song.
Yeah.
These are some of the darkest lyrics. These are the darkest lyrics on the record.
The darkest lyrics that she's written in a long time, probably
I
ever.
Agree. Yes.
And it's like such a, like, I could listen to it so much. I don't have to be in a dark place to listen to it. It's fantastic to listen to. It's enjoyable and fun to listen to. And I think that this whole end of the world narrative really does wrap up the album. The album's only about a half an hour long. It really does feel like a crash. It's she goes in there. It's fast. It's insane. Things are moving so quickly, it's hard,
and it's
she's
over.
Going for it. Yeah.
And it ends.
And she was talking about that in the interview, with Zane Lowe.
Yes.
Fantastic interview, where she wanted this to be just like a car crash where you're going fast and it's all at once and then it just stops. And that's what this is for sure. That's what this album feels like. I think that she could not have chosen a better title for this record. Yeah. Overall, one of my favorite albums from her. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if it's my favorite Charli XCX album. I think I still need to give it more time. But it's definitely up there for me. It's definitely a highlight as far as music that I've listened to in the past year. Yeah. And I 100% recommend checking it out. Oh, for sure. There's also a great deluxe edition of this album too with 4 extra songs that we don't have time to talk about today, but I also highly recommend. Yeah. I think they're definitely at the bottom of my list, but I like them a lot. That's fair. Yeah. I think that overall, if you're looking to get into Charli XCX, this is a good starting point because it's easy and accessible enough, but it's not like it doesn't have substance. If you pay attention to this record, you're going to get something out of it. Right. It's definitely very accessible. I would say this is where you start with Charli XCX, and then you can get into more of the hyperpop stuff. Yeah, I think if you just jump into an album like How I'm Feeling Now, you're going to get scared. Right. Especially if that's not your typical genre of music. I think this is a good starting point for Charli XCX. So I think there's something on here for everybody. So yeah, thank you so much for doing this podcast with me. I appreciate you wanting to talk about this album. If anybody else has listened to this, let us know what you think about the album. If you haven't yet, totally go and do it. There's links down below. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.